Hey, what's up, you guys? Jeff Cohn here with another episode of the Team Building Podcast, where we interview top team leaders, broker owners, and thought leaders across the country. Today, I have a very special guest with me and Mrs. Kathryn Nizzi.
You always go Mrs.
I like Mrs. You
Okay.
can't go wrong. Miss feels too young.
Okay, you don't even have to put like something in the front of it, though. You can just say my name.
With Kathryn Nizzi.
There you go.
So we have a really fun topic we're going to ideate around a little bit today, and it's timely in the sense that we are now in the fourth quarter of 2022 as we record this episode. If you're listening to this years in the future, we just came off of COVID the last 2 years. Interest rates went from the historic low to now, I think as of yesterday, I heard they were around 7% for a 30-year fixed. So rates are coming up. It's a seller's market in most places, but a very softening seller's market. And we foresee that transitioning more into a neutral market. And so I want to just start off by defining that. A lot of people don't know what delineates a buyer's market, a neutral market, and a seller's market. And it's the amount of inventory, amount of houses that are actively on the market compared to how many homes sell per month in your area. So we'll use Omaha as the standard for that conversation. In Omaha, Nebraska, there are around 1,000 sales a month. Now, that 1,000 sales is 1,000 houses, but that creates 2,000 sides, double the real estate sides because you get credit for a buy side and a list side. So if there's 3 months of inventory, that would mean there's 3 months worth of houses. That would mean there'd be 3,000 houses. It would take 3 months for all those homes to sell off if 1,000 homes sold every month. So that's kind of the idea. A neutral market is when there's 3 to 7 months. And so it's not a buyer market, not a seller market. You're just kind of in between. And then a buyer's market is when you have more than 7 months worth of inventory. An interesting fact, when I got into the business, it was 2006, and everyone said it's a softening market. And then 2007 came, 2008, 2009. And I was to a point where in Omaha, there were over 9,000 houses on the market, over 9 months of inventory. Average days on market was over 6 months. I mean, it was wild. So,
You mean it wasn't like 12 hours?
yeah, exactly. Right. No one was putting signs in yards that said sold in one day, and no realtors were on social media, well, period.
Yeah.
But no realtors were on social media saying, I got this home sold in 2 hours.
Right, which is also a scary place to be as well.
100%.
You know, it's beneficial to the real estate agent and the team because they're just boom, 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 moving it through. But it's not a stable place to be either.
No, and I've always said I think the perfect market is a neutral market, so you can generate buyers off your active listings that stay on the market for several weeks or months. And there are a lot of strategies that we do cover in our Elite Real Estate Systems team and agent product that talk about how to get the most amount of leads off of a listing, because we believe any one listing should be able to generate 2 to 3 additional buyer and seller opportunities. But that won't be the topic for today. The topic for today is, as a team leader or broker owner that's listening to this, and we're coming towards the end of 2022, how do we prepare agents for a shifting market? I think a lot of people are really nervous. Agents are leaving. I think I heard a stat recently that by the end of this year, you'll see 15% of the nation's agents will not renew their license.
And I think this ties in nicely to the month of October when we're talking about retaining agents anyways in our monthly coaching and how to be a thought leader and how to be that leader that the agents, your agents and your teams and your brokerages are going to need starting now, starting 6 months ago.
As a leader, maybe the people in your world will listen to your advice if you have sound advice to give.
Correct.
Instead of being able to just go to a dinner party, find out someone's selling, get a listing agreement signed, put it on the MLS, take a picture, and then it's sold.
I just say you just stand out on the corner with your business card and something happens, right?
Seriously. It's been crazy. It's funny, Kat, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but when I first got licensed, I'm just this young pup, a 23-year-old, and all the old timers in the office would talk about the good old days, and they would reference, I think it was the late 90s, and they would talk about how they would literally list a house in the morning, they'd go golfing all afternoon, they'd get back to the office because there wasn't internet yet, and they'd have 6 or 7 offers, they'd drive over to the client's house, they'd have all the offers with them, they wouldn't counter, they'd just take the highest and best, and then they'd do a deal and make $3,000 and be done. And I got into the business, and you take a listing and you knew odds were that it probably wasn't going to sell, at least it wasn't going to sell anytime soon. You would take the listing to drive buyer leads was the whole mindset behind the listing. And so now full circle in just 15 years, we've been able to watch that market shift. I know Gary Keller has a great book, if you guys haven't read it, called Shift, which talks about the natural market going up and down. That's every market. That's Economics 101. Well, we obviously are in this next shift, and I'm hoping, and I don't know, nobody knows, I'm hoping it's not as bad as the recession in the late 2000s. I don't expect it to be, but obviously home prices will come down. I think we'll see it come down in our market 5 to 10%. They were up, I think the last time I checked, 17% in the last 12 months. Some markets were up 50%, 60%. But you'll see a softening market. I don't think it's doom and gloom. What it is a shift, and we need to be prepared, and we need to prepare the people in our world to understand what that shift is all about.
I think you said it perfectly last week when we were talking, and it's like, all you're going to have to do is WORK,
100%. Now it's time to step up. So based on the work, what work should we be focused on? What work should we as the leader start helping the agents recognize are the important things? And we actually had our regional director, David Barroso, came out to our KW franchise yesterday and spoke for an hour to our top 20% of agents and indies. And they asked, David, what are the two things we definitely want to keep spending money on? Because of course, when market gets tough, people want to start cutting all their costs.
Yeah.
And the two things he said you have to keep putting money on, you got to keep pushing the gas. Number one, coaching. Because coaching isn't an expense. Obviously, it's an investment. And with coaching, you will get a positive ROI if you're doing the things that your coaching company is teaching you. And then number two is lead generation and all of the activities around lead generation. Those are the two main things that if you're going to continue to be relevant, continue to have success, you don't want to stop spending money on.
Yeah. I think this conversation when we were at Sisu Rain 2 weeks ago now, this conversation came up and people asked this question and the same answer was coaching and lead gen, because you can't replace coaching with anything. All the other tech, you can go back and you can go back to your Excel sheets. You can go back to tracking it the way you were, but coaching is not something you can replace with something else.
The other thing I think is important to mention, and of course it's self-serving, we own a coaching company, but we say this because we know it's best for people, and that is, as a coaching organization, and this isn't just Elite Real Estate Systems, this is any coaching organization, they have a much different perspective of what's going on in the market across the country, because the feedback that they're getting from agents, teams, indies, brokerages across the country. And so that has put Elite Real Estate Systems and this podcast in a really unique position, because we're talking to hundreds of top teams and agents and brokerages and hearing what's happening in each market. And obviously each state has its own ecosystem, its own culture when it comes to the real estate industry.
Yeah, and being able to stay connected to people, not just within your bubble, is so important for anything. But especially when there's that heightened concern that people are putting out there. Gosh, I was on Instagram Reels the other day, like on Elite Real Estate Systems social media, and I feel like every reel was talking about how people are like, the economy's towards I was like, geez, Louise, people, like, calm down.
Well, one of the things I've noticed, and this is applicable in most markets, is even in a declining market, there will still be a very similar amount of homes that are going to sell every month, independent of what market you're in. So let's say that the market drops 20% in your area. Take the number of units that sell. Omaha, I already said, was 1,000. Okay, it drops 20%. That's 800 houses. Well, I'm guessing more than 20% of agents will be out of the business. So net, you're in the same spot or a better spot because more agents than houses leave the industry.
Right.
But the other point is, if your goal for most individual agents' goals is 15 to 30 sales a year, who cares what market you're in? And this is the point I made back when I got licensed in 2006 and everyone was talking doom and gloom. And I'm like, wait a second, I want to make $100,000 a year my first year. When I was 23, I need to sell around 35 or 40 houses because I was only keeping 33%. My mom and dad got to keep 66%. And I'm like, I need to sell about 50 houses. I don't care if there's 800 houses or 8,000 houses. Who cares? I just need to go get 50 of them. And so stop listening to the negative messaging as the team lead. Encourage your agents. Quit watching those freaking reels. Quit watching the news. That's entertainment.
Correct.
They're doing that to create fear.
Why are we listening to these people who we don't even know what credibility they have? And they're just quoting other people.
100%. So one of the great stats, I think, as a leader that you can pull up to help justify the fact that things aren't changing, quit being so nervous, is simply the amount of houses that are on the market and how many homes are selling. So yes, there will be more homes. Yes, they'll take longer. Yes, we'll have to WORK a little bit more. And it's not going to be go to a dinner party, take a picture with your iPhone and make $12,000 as easy as it was before. But that wasn't the ideal market. And a lot of people, I think, missed out and don't recognize that if you're in a neutral market or a buyer's market, you can drive a lot more business off of those signs that are outside in yards. Instead of those signs only being up for 15 days or for a month, a sign sits for 6 months. And imagine if you're generating a buyer lead every day or a buyer lead every 2 or 3 weeks, handing that off to somebody else. And that's how I actually incubated Omaha's Elite Real Estate Group, which, as everyone's heard a million times, it grew from 70 to 700 deals in 7 years.
Oh, Man, can you say that again? I don't think any of us have heard that before.
7,700 deals in 7 years. We used to say 6, and I'm like, I'm going to say 777 because it's way more exciting. So with all of this in mind, if you haven't already checked out Elite Real Estate Systems, or if you've been a part of it but aren't currently a part of it, we would love to invite you guys to check it out. This is the best time to join. Ending Q4 2022, we are going to give you preferential pricing. Our pricing is going up in 2023. It's the first time we've ever raised pricing, but our value add continues to grow. So we offer Monday, Wednesday agent training. Every Monday's topical, specific to everything we're talking about right now on this podcast, teaching your agents, preparing them, removing the fear, teaching them what they need to do to overcome all the objections that are going to be coming down the pipe. Then Wednesdays is the dialogue around it. Thursdays is a team leader call specific to just the team leader, and you're in a group setting, and everything we do is recorded. So if you can't make one of the trainings, you can jump in and watch the recording. And then we even offer a few bonus episodes. Tuesdays every week is my investment partner, who he and I together grew a $20 million in single family, multifamily portfolio in Omaha over the last 5 years. And he presents on investing. And then Thursday afternoons, our ancillary businesses, mortgage, title, and insurance, are helping coach your mortgage, title, insurance partners that you have vendor relationships with or strategic partnerships with.
Who are probably also nervous hearing about the shifting market, the softening market, and need that coaching and need that person to lean on at this time.
100%. So the first thing we said is don't fire your coach. If you don't have coaching, I'd even say spend the money on coaching. There is a lot of frivolous spending. If you're spending $4,200 for an ice machine that also does water at the same time, this probably isn't the best time for that.
Oh, you speaking?
That was just hypothetical.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If you're spending a lot of money on parties, a lot of money, I mean, there's frivolous spending. And so everybody should go through and look at what their budgets are all about. But if you don't have coaching yet, invest in it. Our coaching product right now runs $1,000 a month, but we have a 50% off deal through the end of the year. So for more information, where would somebody go?
Growwithers.com.
Okay. Go check that out. Growwithers.com. Would love to get you guys on board, get your agents ready for this next shift. This fall, we'll be offering, what are the topics? This is the month, October, for agent retention. I know
Metrics tracking and career visioning we'll finish off the year with. And then we start back in January with big picture. And those are topics that will set you up. Just those 3 topics, just the last 3 months of the year here can set you up to have a successful next 2023.
So for $500 a month, all your agents get trained every Monday, Wednesday. You get a team leader training. You get to be in a mastermind with top teams all across the country, across every brokerage brand. It's agnostic to any brokerage. We talk about all the best systems, tools, processes, culture, lead gen, lead conversion strategies to help you scale your business.
All right, so what's the next thing we shouldn't do in a softening market?
Yeah, so talk about leads. So lead generation obviously is a 1 month topic that we focus on when it comes to team leader training, and we also do lead gen trainings when it comes to agents. So as team leaders, we need to work with each agent individually to determine where is their highest lead source. And I like to talk about the 80-20 rule, where typically 20% of the energy you're putting in is getting you 80% of the output. If you ask an agent, David said this yesterday, and I'll reiterate because it was a good point. If you ask one of your agents, hey, you made X amount in the last 12 months. How did you do that? And they can't tell you how they did it. They're not going to do well in the next 12 months. And I can't tell you how often I've been on panels, I've been on stages, and the person interviewing will say, hey, where does your business come from? What percentage comes from internet? What percentage sphere? What percentage prospecting? Most people have no clue where their business comes from.
The amount of people who are like, it's not in front of me right now, so you don't know.
I'm not a numbers person.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. That is, I don't know, because I don't track it. And I don't track it because I'm lazy. And I'm lazy because I was never taught how to do it.
Or you don't track it because you're fearful of it. You're like, well, I don't know and I don't want to know. So you're just scared of it.
You're almost worried maybe you're losing money. So when it comes to lead gen, I've always recommended pick a dollar amount and put it towards 3 different sources. And every 12 months, analyze. Don't do it for 2 months. And the reason for that, we've been tracking internet leads for over 10 years. It takes on average 6 months for an internet lead to register and then go under contract, and another 2 months in escrow. So you really won't know if your lead gen efforts are paying off for probably 8 to 12 months.
And we talk about our lead gen efforts. We've talked about on our calls on Thursday, our clients ask us, they're like, what are you guys doing? And we're like, well, we were testing one and it blew, so we're not even going to talk about it. Or Google Verified is one we've recently had a success with, and we've been talking about that. And so now our clients are getting into that, and it's awesome.
Yep. So the three main buckets that you as a team lead should be focused on with your agents. Internet lead gen is the first one. We generate 2,000 leads a month as our market center in Omaha, and we distribute those leads to our market center team, Exarban's Elite Real Estate Group, as well as other teams across the state. But we believe it's very important as a team leader or a broker owner to create leads for the agents, but also teach the agents how to create their own leads. And for us, over the last 10 years, we've generated over 100,000 registered leads off Google Ads, and we've spent $1 million to do that. And so what we found is it's $1 a click. You need 10 clicks to get one person to register, and we average a 2% conversion ratio. So we spend about $500 to get one closed deal that generates $6,000. We let the agent keep 50%, $3,000. We keep $3,000, less the $500. We net $2,500, which if you rewind and listen to that again and do a little math problem, that's a 5x return. Right now, Zillow promises a 1.25 to 1.75x return in most zips. And to me, while Zillow works, and it is a little easier because people are raising their hand saying, yes, I'm interested, versus someone having to WORK to follow up, there's a much higher ROI when it comes to Google Ads. And so we are big believers when it comes to internet lead gen to be focused on Google Ads versus anything else that's out there. Another lead gen source that a lot of people aren't taking advantage of that's free is Craigslist.
Oh my gosh, no one ever believes us on this.
Yep.
But Craigslist is huge.
Yep. We generated 700 leads the last 9 months, because I want to be able to talk about it today, off of Craigslist, and we closed over 1%. I think we've had 8 or 9 sales off of Craigslist. And how that works, we have a company that's actually based out of the Dominican Republic. I think it's called All Tech World. You can find all the information out about them right now on our website. If you go to eliterealestatesystems.com, click on tools, they're listed on there, and they're offering a special deal right now to all the people that listen to the podcast for $1,000 one time. They'll post for you for the next 12 months. You pay $1,000, and then all of your listings that you take, they post to Craigslist. And every day they cancel them, they repost, cancel, repost. Once the house sells, they'll cancel it. They follow all the guidelines in your area. You just need to make sure you're following your real estate commission and your brokerage rules when it comes to posting to Craigslist. And usually you just need the seller's permission.
Yeah. And I just want everyone to know that on that tools link, when you click on that, it does bring you to Facebook. That's how you talk to them, is on Facebook.
That's how you talk to All Tech World?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's internet leads. Of course, Sphere is the traditional cliche. Everyone's like, oh, I would only work my Sphere. Well, of course you should work your Sphere. The problem is your Sphere isn't scalable. So when your agents decide to have a team and they want to 10x their lead gen efforts, how are you going to 10x your sphere of influence? That's going to get challenging over time, year after year. It's easier to have a lead gen source that's predictable. But when it does come to Sphere, let's talk about a couple of things that we need to remind our agents to do. You made the joke, like just going to a dinner party and pushing business cards.
Right.
While that works, that's probably one of the lower returns on investment.
Yeah. All right, here's my next question. What can I'm a team leader, what can I personally do to help me be a better leader to my people? So we talked about obviously coaching, but then also creating leads and helping my agents know where their business is coming from and making sure they're building a business and not just working as a real estate agent. But what can I do? And I say, we always say podcasts and books, that stuff is free, but we have to continue. You as leaders, whether you're a broker leader, a region leader, a team leader, have to continue to be the thought leader for your people.
Yeah,
and so what's other ways that you and the people around you are doing that?
Yeah, 100% I would recommend. I mean, obviously, Elite Real Estate Systems provides you not only just the coaching topic on Thursdays with team leaders, but also a mastermind every Thursday with teams across the country, across every brokerage brand at every point of the business. I mean, it's pretty unique. But I would suggest having a group of subject matter experts in your own area. Pick a few other team leaders from your brokerage. If people have an abundant mindset, pick a few other team leaders that are at other brokerages and just have a mastermind once a month. It's not recruiting. It's just creating an alliance so that everybody can talk about what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know there's a lot of communities on the internet with like Facebook and things like that. So joining those communities can also be helpful to connect you with people and creating those communities yourself. Just like you said, if people creating that environment on Facebook for your own community is also a very powerful thing.
Yeah, and we did that, I think, 6-7 years ago. We created Omaha Real Estate Mastermind, the Facebook group, and we'd put out all of our favorite books, our podcasts, everything that was providing us value, and we went through and invited every agent in the Omaha metro area to be a part of it, and then we would do a soft recruiting invitation, which was just inviting people to our trainings at our office, which is another huge value add. You have agents right now. Of course, I mentioned, I think 15 or 20% of the agents will be gone, but you have a lot of agents now going, okay, what do I do? I've never been in a neutral market. I've never been in a buyer's market. If you're the first to the market to communicate to other teams and agents that your market center, your brokerage, your team has the solution for this shift, everyone's going to come to you. You are the answer to their problem. So right now, start posting to social, hey, we have a training we're going to provide. And if you don't have the content, if you hire Elite Real Estate Systems, you can use our content. You can literally invite them to come join your office to watch our training, or have your people listen to our training and then present the exact same thing to a group of people that come in. And there's not a better way to recruit, because there's a lot of leaders out there that are rainmakers and they're on stages and they speak about how great they are, but they're not great at teaching others and leading others. And that was your point, Kat, is what are some of the things we can be doing to become a better leader? And I've always said the difference between you and me are the books that you read, the podcasts you listen to, and most importantly, the people that you mastermind with. Who is part of your board of directors? Who's your speed dial to say, hey, what would you do in this situation? And you need to build those alliances. And as you grow as a leader and you grow as a person in the industry, you have to grow. You have to learn. You have to shift. You have to make change. You have to fail forward, or else people won't believe you and you won't have the knowledge necessary to help lead these people through this next shift.
Your education can't come off of those negative Instagram reels where people are just talking into a microphone. A lot like what we're doing right now, but.
Yeah, and we're not going to create negative messaging. I ignore that 100%. Your team's goals is a couple hundred deals. I don't think that's going to be a challenge independent of what market that we're in. You just got to make sure you make the right shifts and you're doing the right things. So we appreciate you guys following the podcast. We love doing these. If you can't tell, we're very passionate about it. The sequences have changed. You've probably noticed we've been having Andy Cuny come on. He's interviewing team leaders once a month. My goal is to continue interviewing thought leaders in the industry, broker owners, authors, people that are moving and shaking in different industries that we think are parallel to real estate. So if anybody has somebody specific that you want us to get on the show, don't hesitate to reach out. Kat, what's the best place for them to reach out for that?
I would love them to just email info@eliterealestatesystems.com. Info@eliterealestatesystems.com is the perfect place. We also, I know that our audience really likes when we interview authors of books. We've done a couple of those and they've done really well, and I know they have enjoyed that. So if there's any authors of books you guys would like us,
we have a big one coming up.
Yeah, if you guys would like us.
What is it? Flip Flops to Billions?
Yeah.
Is that it? Or Flip Flops to Fortune?
Flip Flops to
Fortune.
Fortune,
And the author of that book's coming into the office.
Yeah.
To do the podcast recording.
So I know you guys really enjoy authors, and if there's other podcast guests you'd like us to interview as well, let us know. We're here to deliver the content that we believe is important, but also that you guys want to hear about. So let us know.
Awesome. We continue to be the number one listened to team building podcast on every podcast app. If you don't believe me, go onto your Apple app, go onto Spotify, pick one and search team building. We're going to pop up at the top. The reason we pop up at the top is because pretty much every episode, I ask people to give us a 5-star review and a shout out to our most recent episode that you listened to. So if you've never done that and you've heard us ask that 1,000 times, would you please take 1 second right now, hit pause, go into the reviews, scroll down. Sometimes you got to go a few sections down, click 5-star and say something. That adds to the algorithm so more people can find these episodes. We love doing this. Please continue listening. Please continue taking our advice. We believe it's sound. We get a ton of feedback from hundreds, if not thousands of listeners and Elite Real Estate Systems clients that the systems and processes and culture and lead gen strategies and lead conversion strategies that we're so passionate about do work. They do work across the country, across the globe,
across the market. Doesn't matter.
In every market, and we want to continue bringing you this high-level content. So go out to growwithers.com if you want to learn more information. We have a lot of free content that you can access there as well, and stay tuned for upcoming podcasts and events. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Kat.
Thanks.